we need to be more comfortable in the gray, all of us. I think we're very, very comfortable in black and white as individuals, as teams, and as a company. I think we are all prefer perfect information and complete information, and I promise you that it will get ever more incomplete and imperfect as we move forward. And I would love it if we could find a way to help ourselves, our staff, particularly our junior staff, become more comfortable in the gray.
So if you're comfortable with the gray, and if you're agile and nimble and can make changes, those enable you to act because you know it doesn't have to be perfect before you act, because you will be okay changing it when you realize you need to make a change.
And I think you have to be willing to not only reinvent yourself, but before you reinvent, you have to have kind of almost an obsessive self-examination, and not in a physical way, that only with doctor's orders. But I think from a kind of a philosophical way that you approach business, you want to keep looking in the mirror. You want to keep challenging yourself to understand what changes you need to make.
I really think that you have to have this sort of insatiable curiosity and willingness to not necessarily be the one with all the right answers in the room. I think that that's so critical, and we love to have all the right answers.
We have to be willing to fail, and it has to be accepted that we can fail, and we're not going to be thrown out on the street if we fail, if it's a calculated decision. It's got to be some business sense behind it.
The feedback that we got, and it was very good, was that we should have found something that was happening, that was in planning while we were developing this, and tried to use it live to see how it would work in live action while we were developing it. So to run experiments, much like a scientist would, to run experiments and learn and fail forward, fail fast and fail forward while we were developing these things, to test them in action, as opposed to just retrofitting them onto something which had already been created. And that was really good advice.
On the early days of GM, before we even really thought about managing data as a company, we were just taking people and calling them buyers, but they were actually going and thinking about database management and how to manage data, and people would say, well, what do they do? And I'm like, they buy media. Like, if I went in and said that we're creating a data team 6 years ago, people would have been like, well, we're not resourced to do that, and it probably would have gotten shut down. And so what we were actually doing is using the data to buy better. We want to get to this endpoint, which is to buy differently, and if we go in and say we need a data team, I think it probably wouldn't have been approved. And so I think it's little things like that, which maybe I broke the rules, but at the end of the day, I think everybody looks at that as being a successful model that is now trying to be replicated.
As we empowered the teams, they definitely were motivated to act upon what they were finding. A couple of ways that has manifested itself. We had one of our teams go out and find software that was actually going to be a very powerful tool to enable free-form thinking. At part of Choose a Design Group, they found the software, they went off, they were able to negotiate a license, and that's now software that we are putting on desktops of everybody in the Choose a Design Group.
Everything about Agency of the Future is not only scale, but it's about speed and efficiency. The feeling is that a more streamlined, high-value work, efficient organization, starting to really differentiate between the types of quality of work that we do for General Motors will help streamline an organization, make it much more efficient.
If you're talented, if you can actually build a business around this, if it fits within CTC, which is kind of our operating platform, go for it. And as long as you bring the discipline and the rigor to actually make it a business, there's probably a place for it in this company.
I would fight as hard as possible to create initial inspiration pockets where creativity is celebrated far beyond anything else, and allow that to be an inspiration that spreads just with a lot of effervescent contagiousness throughout the agency. And it does, because everybody wants to be part of something fun, and everybody wants to be part of something good, and everybody wants to feel proud of things, and we all want to be useful, and we all want to be excited about what we do. So if you create the little pockets and you allow people to bring their energy and inspiration into something, and you celebrate that, it will happen like wildfire. And it will take a lot of energy up front, and then it'll be like lighting a match and watching it go, and it'll be a good fire.